You're stressed, not because life is hard, but because you're trying to control what was never meant to be controlled. The moment you master yourself, everything changes. There comes a moment in every life when we realize something important. No matter how hard we try, we cannot control everything. We cannot control what people say. We cannot control how they think. We cannot control what life decides to place in our path. But we can control something far more powerful: our response, our mindset, and our inner peace. This is the heart of Stoicism. Focus on what you can control. Release what you cannot. Every day, most people waste enormous energy fighting reality. They push against events they cannot change. They stress about situations that are outside their influence. They try to fix people who don't want to change. And in the end, they drain themselves. Stoicism offers a different way, a stronger way. Accept what you can't change. Act where your influence matters. And let go of everything else. Letting go is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is choosing peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, power over panic. Imagine how your life changes when you stop trying to control everything. You stop overthinking pointless scenarios. You stop arguing to win every battle. You stop chasing answers for questions that don't matter. You stop holding on to people, situations, and expectations that do not belong to you. Instead, you become steady, focused, sharp, unshakable. There is freedom in letting go, and strength in not reacting. When something goes wrong, you say, "Is this within my control?" If yes, act with discipline. If no, release it immediately. This simple question saves peace, time, and energy. Life becomes lighter. Your mind becomes clearer. Your emotions become quieter. And you become the master of yourself. Remember this: you are not here to control the world. You are here to control yourself. Let go of the noise. Let go of the expectations. Let go of the battles that are not yours to fight. Master the art of letting go, and you will finally discover the power of a calm, disciplined, and liberated mind. At first, this idea sounds simple, almost too simple. But when you look deeper, you realize this single truth can completely transform your life. Most people wake up each day already tense, already stressed, already preparing for battles that might never even happen. They worry about what someone might say, how someone might react, what unexpected problem might appear. They live in a constant state of trying to control things far beyond their influence. And the result is always the same: exhaustion, frustration, emotional chaos. The Stoics understood something we often forget. Life is unpredictable. People will disappoint you. Plans will fall apart. Timing will work against you. Not everything will go the way you imagined. But none of these things have the power to destroy your peace unless you give them permission. The world outside you is not the problem. The problem is the belief that you must control the outside world for your inside world to feel calm. That belief is the cause of most suffering. When you shift your attention from controlling everything to controlling your response, everything changes. Suddenly, life feels lighter. Challenges become manageable. Unexpected events no longer break you, they simply arrive, pass through, and leave. You stop trying to bend the world into your desired shape and instead strengthen your ability to handle whatever shape the world gives you. This is the essence of Stoicism, and it is one of the most powerful skills a human being can develop. Your response is the only thing fully in your command. You cannot control how someone speaks to you, but you can control whether you let their words disturb your inner peace. You cannot control the economy, the weather, or sudden obstacles, but you can control how you adapt, how you plan, how you think, and how you rise again. You cannot control what people think about you, but you can control whether you allow their opinions to shape your identity or limit your actions. Every time you choose your reaction consciously, you reclaim your power. Imagine two people facing the same challenge, losing a job, facing rejection, dealing with criticism, or handling unexpected conflict. One person breaks down, gets angry, and loses direction because they try desperately to control the uncontrollable. The other person breathes, evaluates, accepts, and responds with clarity. They don't waste energy trying to force an outcome. They focus on the next step they can take. The difference between these two people is not luck, it is mindset, it is mastery of response. This mastery does not happen overnight, it is a daily practice. Every moment offers you a choice: react impulsively or respond intentionally. When someone irritates you, the Stoic response is not to suppress emotions, but to understand them, rise above them, and choose actions that align with calmness and wisdom. When life changes unexpectedly, the Stoic does not panic. They accept the situation, identify what is within their control, and move forward with discipline. Over time, this way of living creates a deep, unshakable strength. When you stop trying to control everything, you gain something far more valuable: control over yourself. This is where true freedom lives. You become stable in unstable situations. You stay centered in a chaotic world. You stop giving your peace away to every inconvenience, every rude comment, every setback. You learn that your power was never in controlling life. It was always in controlling your response to life. This single shift can change your decisions, your relationships, your career, and your emotional well-being. It turns you from someone who reacts to everything into someone who chooses how to live. And once you master this, you no longer fear the uncertainty of life. You embrace it with strength, wisdom, and calm. Stoicism teaches focus on what truly matters, and this idea becomes a guiding light once you understand its depth. Most people spend their lives scattered emotionally, mentally, and spiritually because their attention is constantly pulled toward things that hold no real meaning or value. They focus on problems they cannot solve, on people they cannot change, on situations that drain their energy, and on fears that exist only in their imagination. In this scattered state, life feels heavy, overwhelming, and chaotic. Stoicism cuts through this chaos with a simple but profound message: direct your attention only toward what is within your power, and let everything else fade into the background. This principle is not just philosophical, it is deeply practical. When you focus on the essential, you take back control of your time, emotions, and clarity. You begin to understand that your energy is limited, your attention is precious, and your peace is worth protecting. Stoicism teaches you to guard your mind the way a warrior guards his shield, because what you allow into your mind shapes your actions, your emotions, and your entire life. By learning to focus on what truly matters, you remove the noise that distracts you from becoming your strongest version. To understand this deeply, imagine your day as a container. You wake up with a fixed amount of mental space. Every worry, argument, distraction, or unnecessary thought occupies a part of that space. When you focus on things that don't matter, like the behavior of others, the outcomes you can't control, or the opinions that hold no weight, you fill your container with clutter. By noon you feel drained. By evening you feel defeated. and by night you wonder why life feels so heavy. But the problem was not your life, the problem was your focus. Stoicism teaches you to empty the container of everything useless so that the important things have room to grow, instead of wasting energy on trying to control people's perceptions. You focus on building character. Instead of fighting every inconvenience, you focus on building resilience. Instead of drowning in worries about tomorrow, you focus on taking meaningful action today. When your focus becomes intentional, your life becomes powerful. What truly matters? Stoicism answers this with clarity. Your actions, your effort, your discipline, your integrity, your choices, your mindset. These are the things you own fully. These are the things that shape your destiny. Everything else, people's reactions, external events, unpredictable circumstances, are outside your internal command. You can witness them, prepare for them, or adapt to them, but you cannot control them. And because you cannot control them, they should not drain your energy. Focusing on what truly matters also means understanding the difference between noise and truth. Noise is what distracts you. Truth is what guides you. Noise is temporary. Truth is permanent. For example, the noise might be someone criticizing you, a plan falling apart, or someone disappointing you. The truth, however, is that your response, your attitude, and your values remain yours. When you place your attention on truth rather than noise, you rise above emotional reactions and step into strength. Stoics understood that the mind becomes powerful when it is not scattered. A scattered mind reacts. A focused mind chooses. A scattered mind panics. A focused mind adapts. A scattered mind is controlled by emotions. A focused mind uses emotions wisely. Life becomes clear when the mind becomes focused. This philosophy also encourages you to simplify your emotional life. Instead of getting caught in unnecessary drama, meaningless arguments, and emotional battles that drain your spirit, you pause and ask yourself, is this worth my time? Does this matter in the long run? Is this within my control? These questions filter out the noise and bring your attention back to what truly matters. Over time, you begin to see that most things you stress about are insignificant. Most battles are not worth fighting. Most opinions are irrelevant. Most fears are illusions. By focusing on what matters, you also become more present. When your mind is not stretched thin across 100 worries, it becomes grounded in the moment. You begin to appreciate the small things, your progress, your peace, your breath, your daily efforts. Presence becomes your power because it allows you to act deliberately rather than react impulsively. Another powerful element of this Stoic principle is the idea of choosing your priorities wisely. Most people say they want peace, success, growth, and happiness, yet they spend their days focusing on petty issues and external approval. Stoicism forces you to check your priorities. Are you investing in your growth or sabotaging it with distractions? Are you building inner strength or wasting energy on things you cannot change? Are you moving toward your goals or drifting because your focus is misplaced? When you choose what matters and remove what doesn't, your life becomes aligned. You no longer chase every emotional impulse. You no longer get lost in overthinking. You no longer seek validation from others because you understand that true worth is built from within. Focusing on what truly matters also empowers you during difficult times. When life becomes challenging, many people break down because they focus on the magnitude of the problem instead of the actions they can take. The Stoic approach is different. A Stoic asks, "What can I do?" That question alone shifts the mind from helplessness to strength. It reminds you that no matter how difficult the situation, there is always one thing you control: your next step. This mindset does not remove challenges, but it gives you the clarity to face them. Instead of complaining, you concentrate on solutions. Instead of fearing change, you prepare for it. Instead of being overwhelmed, you simplify your thoughts, control the controllable, let the rest go. Ultimately, focusing on what truly matters is about building a life of intention. It means choosing your battles, choosing your thoughts, choosing your reactions, and choosing the direction of your life. It means removing what is meaningless so that what is meaningful can guide you. It means protecting your peace, valuing your time, and sharpening your mind. Stoicism teaches that when the mind becomes focused, the person becomes powerful. And when you devote your attention to what truly matters, nothing external can shake your inner strength. You stop living in reaction to the world and start living in alignment with your purpose. You discover clarity, calmness, and the freedom that comes from being in control of yourself, because that is what truly matters. Letting go is a strength, not a weakness. Many people misunderstand this idea because they believe holding on shows commitment, effort, and dedication. They think that if they keep trying, keep pushing, keep forcing situations to work, somehow everything will eventually fall into place. But the truth is often the opposite. The more tightly you hold on to something that no longer serves you, the more it drains your energy, your clarity, and your peace. Letting go is not giving up. It is choosing not to fight battles that are not meant for you. It is choosing peace over chaos and clarity over emotional exhaustion. Strength is often measured in how much we can endure. But Stoicism teaches a deeper truth. Real strength is measured in how wisely we choose where to invest our effort. Anyone can hold on. Anyone can cling to expectations or old stories or stubborn beliefs. But it takes a powerful mind to recognize when holding on is causing more harm than good. Letting go requires awareness. It requires emotional maturity. It requires the courage to release what is outside your control and trust yourself to adapt, grow, and move forward. Think about the moments in life when you felt overwhelmed, stressed, or burdened. Most of the time, the weight you carried was not from the situation itself, but from your attachment to how things should be. You wanted someone to act differently. You wanted a plan to work perfectly. You wanted life to follow your script. But life doesn't work that way. People don't always behave the way you expect. Circumstances don't always unfold according to your timeline. The more you resist reality, the more painful life becomes. Letting go means accepting that you cannot force the world to follow your expectations. When you let go, you are not choosing weakness. You are choosing freedom. You free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You free yourself from the emotional storms created by disappointment. You free yourself from trying to control outcomes that were never yours to control. This freedom creates space for peace, space for clarity, space for new opportunities. It allows you to breathe again, to think clearly, and to see the situation without the fog of frustration. Many people fear letting go because they assume it means losing something important. But often, letting go simply means releasing your emotional grip. The situation may remain, the person may remain, or the challenge may remain, but your suffering decreases because your attachment decreases. You stop fighting with reality. You stop resisting the present moment. You stop believing that your happiness depends on everything going your way. This shift gives you strength, calm, grounded, unshakable strength. Letting go also means trusting yourself. When you release what you can't control, you turn inward and focus on what you can, your actions, your character, your discipline, your perspective. You become stronger internally instead of relying on external circumstances for stability. This is one of the core teachings of Stoicism. Inner control is more valuable than outer control. Life will always be unpredictable, but when you learn to let go, you become steady even in uncertainty. Letting go teaches resilience. You learn that you can face change without fear. You learn that you can lose something and still be whole. You learn that your value is not tied to outcomes or approval or perfection. You begin to see that holding on tightly is what creates suffering, while releasing what isn't yours to carry allows you to stand taller. In the end, letting go is choosing strength over struggle. It is choosing inner peace over external chaos. It is choosing to rise above instead of being dragged down. And when you master this art, you discover one of the greatest freedoms life offers, the ability to remain calm, stable, and powerful no matter what happens around you. Most emotional suffering comes from attachment to people, outcomes, expectations, and stories we tell ourselves. This attachment creates tension inside us, because we cling to how we think things should be instead of accepting how they are. Overthinking, stress, and anxiety grow from this gap between reality and imagination. Stoicism teaches that true peace begins the moment you stop trying to force life into your ideal picture and start seeing it as it is. Overthinking is rooted in fear. You replay conversations because you're attached to how someone should have responded. You worry about the future because you're attached to a specific result. You cling to memories because you're attached to a past that can't return. Every form of emotional pain has a thread of attachment woven into it. Instead of flowing with life, you try to grip it tightly, hoping your grip will stop things from changing. But change is the nature of life. Nothing is permanent. Nothing stays exactly the same. The more you resist this truth, the heavier life feels. Attachment makes you fragile. When you depend on external situations for happiness, you give the world the power to break you. If people don't act the way you expect, you feel hurt. If plans fall apart, you feel lost. If something doesn't work out, you feel defeated. Your peace becomes unstable because it relies on unstable things. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Make your peace independent, make your strength internal, and make your emotional stability something that the outside world cannot shake. When you release attachment, you don't stop caring, you stop clinging, you stop trying to control outcomes that aren't in your hands, you stop overanalyzing every situation, you stop tying your happiness to things beyond your influence. This creates emotional freedom, the kind of freedom that lets you breathe deeply and move through life without constant fear of losing something. Attachment also fuels expectations, and expectations often lead to disappointment. You expect people to understand you, to support you, to stay consistent, or to treat you exactly as you treat them. But people are unpredictable. They have their own experiences, wounds, and perceptions. When you attach your peace to their behavior, you set yourself up for frustration. Stoic wisdom helps you accept that others will act according to who they are, not who you want them to be. This acceptance removes unnecessary emotional suffering. One of the most damaging effects of attachment is how it locks your mind in loops of overthinking. Your brain tries to analyze every detail because it can't accept uncertainty. It fears losing control. It fears losing the version of reality you're attached to. But overthinking does not prevent pain. It magnifies it. Stoicism teaches that clarity comes when you stop wrestling with every thought and start focusing only on what you can truly influence. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean becoming cold or emotionless. It means becoming wise enough to understand that you can love without clinging, care without controlling, and desire without depending. It means appreciating what you have while accepting that nothing is guaranteed. This mindset strengthens you. It helps you stay grounded even when life shifts unexpectedly. When you loosen your emotional grip, you begin to see situations with clearer eyes. You respond instead of reacting. You breathe instead of panicking. You adapt instead of resisting. Your mind stops racing because it's no longer trying to chase a version of reality that doesn't exist. Peace grows when resistance fades. Ultimately, the Stoic path teaches that emotional suffering is not caused by life itself, but by the attachment we place on how life should be. When you learn to let go of expectations of perfect outcomes of old narratives, you reclaim your inner power. You become emotionally lighter, mentally calmer, and spiritually stronger, and most importantly, you free yourself from the chains of overthinking and step into a state of peace that no external situation can take away. Peace comes from accepting reality, and this truth becomes clearer the more you experience life. Most people suffer not because life is cruel, but because they refuse to accept life as it is. They fight against circumstances, resist change, and hold on to expectations that collapse under the weight of reality. This resistance creates inner conflict. Peace is not found by trying to force life to behave according to your plans. It is found by aligning yourself with what is real, not what you wish were real. Acceptance does not mean liking everything that happens. It does not mean approving of pain, unfairness, or challenges. It simply means acknowledging that what is cannot be undone by wishing, worrying, or denying. When you accept reality, you stop wasting emotional energy on things that cannot be reversed. You stop replaying situations in your mind. You stop arguing with the truth. Acceptance is the beginning of mental clarity. The Stoics understood that peace is born from inner harmony, and inner harmony is impossible when you are constantly fighting the world. When something unexpected happens, many people resist immediately. They ask, "Why me?" They feel attacked by circumstances. They imagine that life has singled them out. This mindset makes suffering heavier. The Stoic mindset is different. When faced with difficulty, the Stoic asks, "What happened, and what can I do next?" No emotional storms, no denial, no attempts to rewrite the event, just presence, clarity, and acceptance. Acceptance brings peace because it removes the emotional friction that comes from struggling against what you cannot change. Think of how much stress comes from simple resistance. Resisting that someone disappointed you, resisting that a plan changed, resisting that a situation didn't unfold the way you imagined. The more you resist, the more emotional pressure builds inside you. Acceptance releases that pressure. It allows you to breathe again, think again, and move forward instead of staying stuck. Accepting reality also frees you from illusions. Many times you hold on to fantasies about how someone should act, how life should feel, or how success should happen. These fantasies create expectations, and expectations create disappointment. When you accept life as it is, you see clearly. You stop demanding perfection from an imperfect world. You stop expecting others to fulfill roles they never agreed to play. You stop imagining that peace will come only when everything goes exactly right. Peace is not found in perfect circumstances. Peace is found in a grounded mind. Acceptance strengthens you. It makes you more adaptable, more resilient, and more focused. Instead of wasting energy on why this happened, you redirect your energy to what can I do now? This shift makes you calmer and more powerful at the same time. You no longer feel overwhelmed by challenges because you are not fighting them, you are working with them. When you accept reality, you also stop personalizing everything. Not every setback is an attack. Not every problem is your fault. Not every change is a punishment. Life moves on its own rhythm. People act according to their own thoughts, wounds, and personalities. Circumstances unfold in ways that no one can predict. Acceptance helps you step out of the center of the storm and see things with objectivity. Acceptance also deepens gratitude. When you stop focusing on what should be, you begin to appreciate what is. You start noticing small moments of calm, small victories, small joys that were previously overshadowed by your resistance. Gratitude grows naturally when the mind stops arguing with life. Ultimately, acceptance is not passive, it is powerful. It allows you to conserve emotional strength, see clearly, and act wisely. You move forward without being burdened by denial or frustration. You become steady in situations that once shook you. You learn that peace is not something you search for in the outside world. It is something you cultivate within yourself by accepting reality with courage, honesty, and clarity. When you stop fighting what you cannot change, you finally make space for peace to enter your life. Mastery comes from controlling yourself, not the world. This truth stands at the center of Stoic wisdom, yet many people spend their entire lives trying to control everything outside themselves: people, situations, outcomes, timing, opinions, and even the unpredictable nature of life. This constant attempt to command the external world leaves them drained, frustrated, and defeated. Why? Because the external world does not belong to you. It never has, and it never will. True mastery begins when you turn your focus inward and start mastering the only thing that is truly yours: your own mind, your reactions, your attitude, and your choices. Most people believe that power is found in controlling circumstances. They think life will finally feel peaceful once everything goes their way. But this mindset creates endless suffering because life is rarely predictable and never fully controllable. People change, situations shift, plans collapse, opportunities appear and disappear without warning. If your stability depends on external conditions, you will always feel unstable. Stoicism teaches a deeper, more reliable source of strength: inner mastery. When you learn to control your emotions, your thoughts, your decisions, and your behavior, you become unshakable no matter what happens around you. You stop being a puppet pulled by external strings. You stop reacting impulsively. You stop giving your peace away to every inconvenience or challenge. Instead, you become the anchor in the storm, the calm in chaos, the steady voice inside your mind. Controlling yourself doesn't mean suppressing emotions. It means understanding them and directing them. It means recognizing that anger, fear, jealousy, or disappointment are natural emotions, but your response to them is always your choice. A person who controls themselves can experience negative emotions without letting those emotions control their actions. This is true strength. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One immediately breaks down, complains, blames others, or panics because they cannot control what is happening. The other person stays composed, thinks clearly, and takes responsible action. Not because the situation is easy, but because they have mastered themselves. The difference between these two people is not the situation, it is their level of inner control. Inner mastery also means taking responsibility for your life. You stop waiting for others to change. You stop depending on external validation. You stop expecting the world to adjust itself to match your desires. Instead, you adjust yourself. You improve your skills. You strengthen your mindset. You choose discipline over comfort, clarity over confusion, action over excuses. This gives you real influence over your life because self-control leads to better decisions, and better decisions shape your destiny. One of the most powerful benefits of mastering yourself is emotional independence. When you depend on others to make you happy, you hand them the keys to your peace. When you allow situations to dictate your mood, you become a prisoner of circumstances. But when you master your emotional world, when you learn to steady your thoughts, detach from unnecessary reactions, and choose your attitude, you become emotionally free. No one can take that freedom from you. Self-control also creates confidence. When you know you can control your responses, you stop fearing challenges. You stop fearing change. You stop fearing failure. You begin to trust yourself because you know you can handle whatever happens. This kind of confidence is not loud or arrogant. It is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. Mastery of self also improves relationships. Instead of reacting emotionally, you listen. Instead of arguing to prove a point, you choose peace. Instead of trying to control others, you control your expectations. This reduces conflict and increases understanding. You become someone who brings stability, not chaos. In the end, controlling yourself is the foundation of every form of success. Emotional, mental, spiritual, and even practical. You cannot control the world outside you, but you can always control how you show up in it. And when you become the master of your inner world, the outer world loses its power to shake you. This is the essence of Stoic mastery, strength rooted not in dominating life, but in dominating your own mind. When you achieve this, you rise above circumstances rather than being defeated by them. You become powerful, steady, and free, no matter what life brings.